Well, what a year it has been for us, but also for the royal family. We started the year with Prince Harry releasing that controversial memoir, Spare. Remember that? We also saw the coronation of King Charles back in May, and Prince Harry's book wasn't the only literary royal ruckus this year, was with Omid Scobie releasing his Endgame, his investigation into the state of the royal family. Royal race row, sibling fractions, and much. It's actually like a soap opera, isn't it? It's not even EastEnders, it's like Shameless. Remember Shameless? Seems to be more like that with the royal family this year. 2023 also saw the final season of the Netflix show The Crown. And how could we forget the annual Christmas speech, which was the most watched thing on Christmas Day, by the way. King Charles called for peace as we go into 2024. And as we look ahead to next year, it's been announced that a new poll will ask the public on the opinions of the royal family at a cost of round about £1.8 million of taxpayers' money. That's us, by the way. Joining me very soon to unpick the last 12 months of the royals in a very short period of time, so to talk very fast, is historian and broadcaster Rafe-Heydel Mankoo. Thank you very much, Rafe, for joining us here, actually in the studio. You made it. Congratulations. It's New Year's Eve. Anything could go wrong.
The party's already started for some of us.
Yes, exactly. It's only water. Right, Rafe, I want to start with this poll. What is this about? Why do we need a poll to ask us about what we think about the royal family?
What a useless poll this is. I mean, the government does these periodically, but the reality is we know what the public thinks about the monarchy. Ipsos Mori have conducted the same poll every year for 30 years. Since 1993, support for the monarchy never really wavers below 65% or so. It's now around 66 or whatever it is. The public, we've seen the success of the last year shows public interest in the monarchy. We've had, last year's Christmas speech was the most watched Christmas speech of the 21st century.
Wow.
The coronation was the most watched event of the year.
Yep.
On Christmas Day, the most watched programme was, of course, the Christmas speech. And on Boxing Day, the most watched programme was the King's coronation documentary on the BBC. Why we need to have this discussion, I have no idea. But, but the King actually needs to have a chance also to convey his image of the monarchy to the public. That's the purpose of 2023, I think, was the King trying to set the tone for his reign and also reveal to the public the sort of king he's going to be. And I think he's done that very well.
So do you think he's done a good job of it?
I think he has done. I mean, look, if you look at I think the coronation really symbolises his attitude towards the monarchy. The service retained all of its majesty and its dignity, but it was tweaked to make it more relevant and more reflective of the modern world around us. And I think that's really how the King views the monarchy under his reign. And, of course, we've seen also, internationally, he's been a huge success and proven himself to be every bit a worthy successor to his mother. That rapturous reception he received in Germany, where everyone loved that speech he gave at the Bundestag. Then in France, adulation and this endless standing ovation after giving a speech in the French Assembly. And then, of course, as head of the Commonwealth, making that first visit to Kenya, which was potentially fraught with problems because of the way that the British handled the Mau Mau uprising. And the brilliant diplomacy with which he handled that, listening to their concerns. He actually won the respect of Kenyans for that. So I think on all those levels, actually, it's been a terrific success for His Majesty.
So if he's the royal hero of 2023, who's the royal zero of 2023?
Well, I promised my followers I wouldn't be mentioning Harry much in 2024.
Too late.
But as you've asked me the question, yes, well, look, the Queen famously said 92 was her annus horribilis. I think we can agree that for Harry and Meghan, 2023 has been their annus harribilis. Because it's primarily Prince Harry, I think, that's made this a disastrous year for the Montecito duo, topping and tailing, of course, the year with two disastrous books. Spare, as you said, which made them into a laughingstock globally. That gave South Park their worldwide privacy tour.
Yes,
and we saw
we
saw them being mocked by Family Guy in every late-night talk show. And then, of course, ending the year also with Endgame, written by Omid Scobie, selfie stick and waiting to the Duke and Duchess. And I think, the loss of Frogmore Cottage, their poll ratings taking a nosedive. They'll be very happy to see an end to this year, I think.
And you'll be sorry you missed this, because it was really entertaining. We had Mystic Veg on in the first part of the show, who brilliantly uses asparagus to predict the future. Obviously.
I thought it'd be a cauliflower or something.
No. The cauliflower doesn't work evidently, so it has to be asparagus. But her prediction for Harry and Meghan was there was a split looming. What do you make of that?
Well, you know, every time you go on the internet, there's another royal expert forecasting that there's a split or they're happy. None of us are privy to that information, I would say. But we'll see whether Mystic Veg is proven true or not. I think I think that they'll last longer than any asparagus will. I think that's the most I'll say about that.
To be honest with you, Rafe, that asparagus was eaten for dinner straight after it gave us that exclusive. So that's slightly worrying.
But there are some highlights to look at next year. We've got, of course, the 60th birthday of the Duke of Edinburgh, of Prince Edward.
Is it 60 already?
The big 4-0 for Prince Harry, getting a bit long in the tooth there.
Wow.
To mark also. We may see Prince George go off to public school this year. He'll be turning 11, and it's usually year 7 or year 9 when you're 13 that you go off to see that. Also, the King notably hasn't made an official visit to any of his realms yet, apart from the UK. And we think he may go to Canada in May for a week, and then he has CHOGM, the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in Samoa. And en route there, he may stop in Australia and New Zealand for their first visit. So those will be other highlights of the year to come.
And the popularity, despite this ridiculous poll, you predict will carry on growing?
Yeah, well, Ipsos Mori have said that there's never been a single poll they've ever taken that's more consistent than the 30-year approval rating for the monarchy. Now, there are challenges. We have the most radically woke left-wing youth in history, and they're not becoming more conservative, and they don't have as much support for the monarchy. And, of course, we now have 4.2 million people who've arrived in the last decade. So immigration is another problem because they don't have the same cultural attachments or emotional attachments or historical knowledge. So those are two big challenges for the future. But overall, the monarchy is perfectly fine and secure.
Brilliant, thank you very much. That is our Rafe-Heydel Mankoo there with his royal crystal ball.